Woohoo! We are live. I have not been live in so long. As usual with the live, I got to wait for some people to pop on here and then we're going to get into the topic. So if you're watching the replay, I'm going to chat a little bit about 9 things that you should be considering when choosing an area to live in Costa Rica. So, and also, I do have a little fun bonus thing for you that I created a long time ago. It's down in the description. It's a quiz. It's a quiz that I created and it'll help you, you can kind of it considers a lot of these factors that we're going to talk about, but in the quiz, you'll go ahead and take it and then it will, calculate kind of what's your best area. And I do have a fun little kind of review on that quiz that I saw this morning in my inbox because I did send that out via email again as a reminder to people. So we got someone on here. So if you're here, definitely feel free to say hello. You can say hi in the box. If you're on Facebook, I won't be able to see your name because I'm here on Facebook and YouTube. If this is your first time viewing, I guess if you're on Facebook and you're looking at this is my group. So welcome to the group. All right, we got some extra people on here. So I appreciate, the Facebook group has gotten so big, which is very exciting. I'm going to be more present in the Facebook group. We're always a little bit busy over here helping people move to Costa Rica. But I have been working on a new social media plan, and part of that is going to be going live 3 times a week. So I thought of some great topics to, bring up with you guys, help you guys think about. So we're going to jump into them because, here we are, and let's just get into the material. So thank you. Okay, we got Ken here, Indigo. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining. So anyone who's watching right now, have some of you already moved, or are you moving, or are you thinking about moving? Maybe if you can comment, that would help me also understand kind of where people are at in their process who are, here on this live stream. Because today's topic is about 9 things to consider when choosing an area. So these are things, because choosing a wrong area for your move can definitely be kind of detrimental to your experience. I did that. So when I first moved to Costa Rica, I was 30 minutes walking up a hill. I did a lot of things wrong when I moved. So I do like to use my own experience. Okay. They're going to move to Manuel Antonio around Capos. That's a beautiful area. I've also lived there. So when I first moved to Costa Rica, I was 30 minutes walking up a mountain. Not a good idea. I had rented a car with some other friends, but they kind of took over the car. And so I didn't really have access to that. I remember the sun was setting and I'm walking up this mountain. I thought like a jaguar was going to come out and eat me. I was new to Costa Rica. I was like, I'm going to die. So I was a little bit dramatic back then. This was 8.5 years ago. But even the closest town to me had one little store that just had like a little window and you could ask for a few things. That was it. So choosing your area wisely. I was there for 2 weeks and I was like, I cannot do this. I rolled my stuff, my 2 suitcases down the mountain, hopped on a bus. Dominical was my closest town. And then I have moved in a lot of different areas since then. Okay, we got Mauricio. He's from Costa Rica. He lives in the U.S. since 1990, planning to go back for retirement, but not full time. I actually do get a lot of emails from Costa Ricans who, ended up moving to the United States at a younger age and then are coming back. So that's really cool. Perfect. Okay, Joe moved to Playa del Coco 2 years ago. So then maybe you can just think of some of these points and let me know if you feel like if that's how you kind of based your area off of too. So number 1 for choosing an area, I'd like to start with climate with people because as you know, Costa Rica has a lot of different microclimates. So climate, I've talked to a lot of people who think that they want to live by the beach. They're like, yep, I want to be by the beach. I want to sip my pina coladas on the beach all day. But the reality of it is the heat can really get to you. Like we're in summertime right now, our summer season. Actually, I heard some thunder yesterday and I got really excited and I do think we got a little bit of rain. Thank goodness. But normally we don't have rain during these months and it's getting really hot. I do live by the beach. I'm 3 minutes. I have to have the AC on. I would pay a lot of money just to have a nice, cool spring breeze come through my window. Now, however, over this past weekend, I had to go up to the Central Valley for an appointment and beautiful weather. So you can be in Costa Rica if you've never been before and you're watching this. There's so many different climate options. There's been times where I am freezing because I'm by the beach. If you go up to Monteverde, oh, my friend Arouge, that's my best friend from the United States. I've been up to, Monteverde. I'm bringing my boots. I'm bringing my jeans, my sweatpants, my heavy jackets. I'm bringing all of that with me. So climate's definitely a big thing for you to consider. You come and visit if you haven't already. And the beach is amazing, but are you going to be okay with the heat all the time? Also, a lot of times when people do come on trips, they're out doing stuff at all hours of the day. When you're living here on a daily basis, like for myself, I'll go out in the morning. It's a little bit cooler, it's more comfortable. I'll do some things that I need to do, and then I work. So you have to think about your daily schedule, which we'll also talk about a little bit in this live. So there goes one of my dogs. I don't know if you can hear my dogs. So even with dogs, so they go out in the morning, they sleep most of the day. I work most of the day. And then by the time it's more comfortable out around 4 p.m., then I'm out doing things again more outside. So think about, maybe you do love the beach, but also think about your lifestyle and plan your life a little bit more accordingly to it. Because we also do have our rainy seasons. So climate, very important. If you do want a cooler climate, you can accomplish that. You just need to get a little bit more elevated, more of the popular areas that will have people move if they want to be in a cooler climate would be around San Jose, Central Valley. But there is also La Fortuna is a bit cooler, not as cool as what I thought it would be. Monteverde. Down in the South Pacific, there's a town called San Isidro de General. Up around the mountains around there is nice and cool too. Or even, let's say, down in the southern zone. I don't know if you guys can hear my dogs. Sorry about that. Down in the southern zone, up the mountains come very close to the coastline there. So that's actually a perfect area for people who are, I love the beach, but I love the mountains. Where do I go? Down there, you can be 30 minutes up, have a cooler climate, but just be 30 minutes to the beach versus maybe an hour or more. So climate, that would be what I would say there. Maybe if you want to put in the comments if there's a particular climate that you like. I know someone here, Joe, said that he moved to Playa del Coco 2 years ago. Joe, if you're still on here, how are you doing up there? I imagine it's pretty hot up there as well. Guanacaste, Playa del Coco is up in Guanacaste. They get more, I think they get hotter than here in the Central Pacific where I live. So, all right. So, Nicaragua, cool. Oh, hi, Greg. Oh, fun. So Greg does a lot of relocation things over in Nicaragua. Very cool. So if this is the Greg that I was thinking of, if it's not, then. So the next point would be distance to airport. So distance to airport, that's another thing. Like when we work with someone, the number one thing that I have to do is if someone's undecided on their areas, helping them narrow that down. So normally I'll ask about climate. My next question might be distance to airport. Some people really don't have a preference. So if you don't have a preference on how far you are from an international airport, then okay, it is the right Greg. Then great. Then I guess you don't have to worry about that too much. We do have 2 international airports here in Costa Rica. There's one outside of San Jose. It's not in San Jose City Center. It's outside in the province of Alajuela. That's the airport code SJO. So that's a good airport for getting to the Central Valley, the Central Pacific, South Pacific, all of those areas, even going over to the Caribbean and over there. Then we have another airport, LIR, Liberia. That's up in Guanacaste. So if you are living in Playa del Coco or Tamarindo, Samara, Nosara, that would be your closer airport. I love watching these comments. I'm also really ADHD, so I gotta stop looking at the comments. So close, distance to airport. And I guess thinking about how often you're gonna go in and out. So I do have, and I've worked with some people that will need to travel back to their home country for work. So for me, leaving my house, here in Costa Rica to entering my family's home, it's 12 hours. Even if I take a direct flight and the flight's only about 4.5 hours from getting there early, doing all the airport things, it's a 12-hour day and it can be kind of exhausting. So for me, I do like living a little bit closer. I'm about an hour and a half from the airport versus other times I have lived 4 hours from the airport or more. So that did make things a little bit more challenging. You take a long flight, you get here and then, I got this 4-hour drive. So just think about you and kind of your tolerance for those things. Also, if you're only going back or if you're traveling once or twice a year, maybe that distance to airport doesn't really matter too much for you. But I would say if you are traveling pretty often, that would be something to consider. Okay, and we got medical care options. So medical care, and I hope you guys are writing this down. If anyone's coming in, and also I can also put this down in the description, but we talked about climate, distance to airport, medical care options. The medical care options are going to vary depending on where you are in the country. Kind of like maybe where you're already moving from. More rural areas may have a lot less access to certain type of medical care facilities. So for Costa Rica, I'll ask people, okay, well, how far do you want to be? Do you have a preference if you want to be in a certain distance, driving distance from a private hospital? Or do you have any medical concerns that you feel you need to be close to a private hospital or a public hospital? We do talk about that as well. So if someone usually tells me, no, I don't really have too many medical concerns, it would be nice to be within an hour of a public hospital, then luckily that does leave you open to a lot of locations for the most part. Now, if you're going to want to be if you want to be close to a private hospital, then most of those are located in and around San Jose. There's one up in Liberia as well. And then there's one down in the South Pacific in that one town that I mentioned, San Isidro de General. So that would be something that if someone does have a preference, if they say, no, I don't want to be more than 30 minutes from a private hospital, that's going to narrow your parameters a little bit too. But then you still have some different climates that you can, climates and cost of livings that you can work within that. So think about how far you'd want to be. Oh, it's so nice. These comments are sweet. If you were my daughter, I'd be so proud of you. Maybe my mom's on here. If my mom's on here, say hi. Maybe she's busy. So yeah. And I do have people ask me about, okay, well, is the public hospital okay in this area? So I've had mixed reviews. It depends. Some public hospitals you can have really great experiences at. Others just may not be as well equipped. So for example, I do live outside of the town of Paco. We don't have my closest public hospital would be, there's one in Quepos and there's one in Punta Arenas. But we are at a distance here that if something happened, which actually did come up with a client once, she cut her foot really bad. Took her to the 24-hour public clinic at like 10:30 at night. The guy was honest. He said, well, I'll stitch it up. It's not going to look good. So her options were to either get an ambulance to the public hospital, which I asked him. I said, is she going to be sitting there all night? And he's like, yeah, she'll be there all night just waiting. Or we ended up just calling her a taxi and having her get to a private hospital. But there's also private clinics in a lot of the towns. And again, this would just be something to think about. If you're really thinking about an area, what medical services are around, because the thing is, I know we could all be in good health, but we never may expect an accident or emergency to come up. Now I'm probably going to get off topic, but everywhere I've lived, I've always had an emergency kind of plan. Who am I going to reach out to? Who's closest to me that has a car if I can't drive? If something of that sort happens. So just making sure you know what your medical options are in the areas that you're choosing, even if you don't have any maybe particular concerns at the moment. Okay. So next point is cost of living. So the cost of living can really vary here in the country. Let's see what it says. Which internet site is good for finding houses for sale? Currently, the site does not seem up to date. Oh gosh, that's a whole nother can of worms. I'll definitely go through questions here at the end for a bit as I have the time. But cost of living. So that really does vary all around Costa Rica. I will be doing future lives about cost of living and things like that. And I actually have a PDF that I did make. I have two things that I can send you guys from this live. If you want it, you can just comment. I have a PDF where I actually went to the store and calculated the cost of certain things. And I made the PDF so someone could put in the exchange rate for the US dollar or the Canadian dollar, I guess whatever they want to do, they could edit that. And then you could see the actual cost of certain items. So for example, Central Valley has a much lower cost of living, of course, depending on where you are in the Central Valley. That's in and outside of the San Jose area. So a lot of people like that area because the weather's great. It's close to the airport. Cost of living's good, great medical care options. So that's why that is an area where we do have a lot of people live. Now, the cost of living is going to be higher if you're going towards the coast because that is the touristy areas. That's where people are going on vacations. So cost of living is something to take into a factor. And I will be doing a whole separate live on that. So it would be good, I guess, to stay tuned. I'm going to try to do these Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 a.m. I just got started a little bit late because I had kind of a surprise phone call. Distance to amenities. So think about what do you consider amenities? So if you like bowling and going to the movies and I don't know, doing things like that, then you're probably going to need to be more in the Central Valley. Whereas by the other towns, it's just personal. I would consider what do you consider amenities? I have some people say, well, I just need to be near, a decent grocery store. And sometimes I like to get my nails done or Kids extracurriculars, those are important. So think about what you consider amenities, and do the areas that you're looking at in particular, have those amenities, and the town. Obviously there's areas of Costa Rica that could be a good fit. And then it's kind of comes down to also choosing a good town that's going to be a good fit for you as well. Transportation options. So there's some areas that you can struggle with if you're not going to have a vehicle. They're just very spread out. So think about, are you going to have a vehicle living in Costa Rica? Because that does expand a lot of the areas that you can live. If not, then there's some that could be better. For example, the Central Valley does have a good transportation system. There's Uber here in the Central Pacific, at least in the Jaco area. There is Uber as well. A lot of the coastal towns are flat, so it's good for bicycling, or if you want to get an e-bike. The bus system, works pretty well as well. So, but then in some other areas, it just might be too rural. You might it might be too long of a walk to a bus. Or maybe you don't want to use the bus. So I would just think about the transportation of the general area. And if you're going to need to have a vehicle, because again, I will have some people say, oh no, I don't mind walking 20 minutes. It's okay. But again, if you factor in the heat, if you are living on the coast and it's broad daylight, it's a long walk. And then also taxis can be a little bit expensive in some areas at some times, and it can really start to add up. So thinking about transportation options in the area that you're choosing. Like I did not, when I first moved, I was 30 minutes walking up. I don't know. I just went whenever my friends told me to go. I was like, all right, I'm coming over there then. Didn't know anything about it. But it's good. I'm still glad I had all those experiences. And another one would be town culture and community. So I think we're on what are we on? I guess we're on number 7. So we have climate, distance to airport, medical care options, cost of living, distance to amenities, transportation options, and town culture and community. So a lot of times I will ask people, how social are you? Do you like to see people a lot? Or do you want a town that's more lively, that has more going on? Or do you want something that's a little bit more quaint, laid back? I mean, I do like to think that there is kind of a vibe for anyone, here in Costa Rica. So just think about, I guess, in general, what are you looking for in a town? Do you want something that's busy, that has more going on, more bars, restaurants, or do you just want something really quiet? Or maybe, like me, I like being outside. So I live outside of Jaco, which is, I guess, the most developed beach town of Costa Rica. But I've lived many, many places. I like being outside. So I like having my peace and quiet, but I do like being close to everything that just makes life a little bit easier. Because I've lived the other ways before, and I've lived out in the middle of nowhere. And right now I'm a little spoiled by the conveniences. And it's okay to jump around and try different things. That's what I really do encourage, is to jump around and try different areas that are to see really what does feel the best for you. Because I do have a little example I'll provide here at the end. And I have some resources. I have some links that I'm going to put as a banner here that you can go and take the quiz. So we'll talk about the quiz that you can take here at the end as well, to try to find out for you. And then overall accessibility. So there's some areas that I would label not as accessible. So like the Caribbean, because it's a really long drive over there from San Jose. It could be 4 or 5 hours, depending on where you're going. The road goes through National Park. The road can have problems as well. Again, if we have people who've moved over there, we've moved people over there. If that's okay with you, then perfect. The Nicoya Peninsula, a little bit difficult to get to. That's down by Santa Teresa, Montezuma. I would kind of label that a little bit as not as accessible either. But still, we have people move there. So just think about your overall accessibility. I personally I need to be in an area that's just more accessible, that I can access quickly in case I need to leave, or in case I need to go to a whole nother area of the country. That's why I did kind of settle in the Central Pacific as well, because I can reach so many different areas of the country. So Central Valley is very accessible, Central Pacific, even areas up in Guanacaste. I didn't find the South Pacific to be too bad either. It was kind of, once you get to the coast, it was kind of just straight, kind of a longer drive, but pretty easy in general. And then the last thing that I really want you guys to think about when you are considering an area is, what is your day-to-day going to look like? Again, like, are you coming and retiring, or are you working online? Are you working remotely? And just remember how, what hobbies do you have? I always ask people, what hobbies do you have? Or is there any new interests or things that you want to try? It's like, I understand when people are moving to Costa Rica, they're thinking about a lifestyle change. So a lot of times when I'm consulting with someone, I like to understand what is that lifestyle change that they're trying to make so that that area can actually be a good fit for that too. And it has all the things. So if someone tells me, oh yeah, like it's really important that I have a great gym. I love to go to the gym. I need a great gym. Not every area of Costa Rica has a really great gym. So, if that's a huge daily or multi-time a week factor in someone's life, then that's something to take into consideration. So those were my points. So I got climate, distance to airport, medical care options, cost of living, distance to amenities, transportation options, town culture and community, overall accessibility, and how would your day-to-day look like there. And I want to show you guys a quiz that can help you with this. Okay, John said, I love scuba diving. Where's the best place to live by? Well, Playa del Coco can be popular for scuba diving. Isla de Caño Island down there in the South Pacific. So Vita, Dominical, there's some dive shops down there. There's dive shops up in Coco. I guess other areas of Guanacaste too. So I want to pull up the areas quiz here. And actually, let me make this little banner so you guys could take this for yourself. Create a banner, HTML, sorry, bear with me. Quiz. Okay. So this is it. So if you want to go to this website, lasarelena.com/quiz. If you're unsure about your area, hopefully this can help. And I want to read you a really cute email I got this morning from someone who took this quiz a long time ago. I'm sure she won't mind if I... Okay, here we go. So this is what the page is going to look like. So what area of Costa Rica is best for you? You can subscribe to take the quiz to find out. And I got this email that I want to share with you about it. I mean, it's not a perfect quiz. I designed it myself. Of course, think about other areas. But I will read this to you. Funny story. So I got this in my email inbox this morning. Before we came to your retreat, we took the quiz and it gave us Central Valley, but I wasn't convinced because I wanted more beach experience, or so I thought. We lived in Samara for 3 months, Uvita for a month, and we were miserable. Then someone suggested the Chiripo area, and we felt like we finally found our place. So we moved there for 9 months. So during that time, we found the Eco Village near San Mateo and traveled back and forth. Not enjoying the climate in San Mateo. Fast forward to today. Now the person is, she wanted to share that the quiz was pretty spot on. Now they're living in the Central Valley. And, but they didn't know until they came and experienced it for themselves. So it really does bring in the point that it is really important that you do try to experience things for yourself. And it's okay to bop around a bit. It's okay to move around. I've moved around God knows how many times. I will be making a video on all the houses I've ever lived in. I'm done moving out now. Obviously, I've finished building my own houses. I'm finished finally. But it's okay to move around. That's why scouting trips are important, but also why it's important to come and check out different areas if you can, if you're not 100% sure. So I hope that this has been helpful for you guys. In the description, there is the link to the quiz in the description. So if you're on YouTube, you can see it in the description below. If you are on Facebook here, you can see it in the description below. If you want to go take the quiz, like I said, it's not a perfect thing. If you did want my access to the other thing that I noted to you, which was, it was the sheet where I went to the store. Okay, here we go. I went to a grocery store here in Jaco, Mas Permenos. I jotted down, I took photos of all the different items and I made a spreadsheet. I think I'll need to go in to adjust the exchange rate for today on it. But if you're curious, and again, this is in the Central Pacific, a beach town where things are more expensive. But I did go to the store and I just kind of made a spreadsheet of the different costs of certain items. So if you do want access to that, then you can go to this link, lasarelena.com/items, and you should be able to get access to it. And you'd probably need to make your own copy of it. It's probably going to force you to make a copy of the sheet. And then you could just check out some of the cost of things just for market research. A lot of you who are, moving to Costa Rica, maybe not this moment. You're kind of in market research phase. But we will talk more about budgeting. I have that scheduled on our live schedule, which will be fun. So I'm going to be more present here in the group, in the Facebook group. I appreciate all of you, who have been subscribing on YouTube. I have some new videos that are going to be coming out. Life just got busy. I was finishing an e-course, which you can also find down in the description, trying to make some more affordable things for people who are also moving. Because I know a lot of times people are moving, they're on a budget. And yeah, so just want to thank you guys for being here. And if you're just getting familiar with me, then nice to meet you. And if you've been following along for a while, just know that I really appreciate that a lot. So you've come a long way since we've started. So okay, well, I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you on Wednesday. I have my calendar marked for Wednesday, 10 a.m. I will be back here to talk about, sorry, what are we going to talk about? One of the topics is going to be about financing, because I see so much misinformation about financing out now and around. So we're going to do that. So Wednesday is financing. So we're going to talk about on Wednesday getting financing via a bank here in Costa Rica, which is great. So hopefully that'll be helpful, because I've just seen so much misinformation. I see too many people telling people, no, you can't do it, but you can. So we'll talk about that through a bank, an actual bank, not someone else who's, not a private lender, through an actual bank here in Costa Rica. So stay tuned for Wednesday, and I will see you then.